Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Minister Zhang and Ambassador Chen. Thank you. Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Holden Chow, member of Legislative Council of Hong Kong SAR. By way of background, I was born and raised in Hong Kong. I have been LegCo member since 2016. Having witnessed all the chaos done by the opposition camp, with my first-hand experience in chamber, I'm able to offer clear insights regarding Hong Kong's political and social circumstances. Filibustering by opposition camp and paralyzing LegCo functions had become more and more often during the days of my first term in LegCo. Things finally took its toll in 2019 when thugs stormed into LegCo building, vandalizing the entire chamber. Riots were everywhere in the city. Petrol bombs were being thrown into police stations. People were cruelly beaten by those rioters simply because they didn't share their political views. Innocent people were attacked and even killed by thugs. As I'm the vice chairman of DAB, the largest political party in Hong Kong SAR, with my strong patriotic background, plus I'm widely regarded as one of the most outspoken political figures to safeguard national security. The opposition camp, joined by the rioters, therefore spared no effort to harass myself and even my family. First, there was doxing. All our personal info, including ID numbers, address, and phone numbers, were maliciously exposed on the internet for the purpose of initiating further disturbance to my family's life, trying to scare me off from speaking for my motherland, China. Then my own office was vandalized 3 times in a year. As you will see in this photo, this appears to be a warning to myself that I should stop siding with Beijing, stop voicing out my opinion to defend our one country, two systems, or there would be dire consequences to me. Despite all these ridiculous threats against me and my family, I have still been a staunch patriot, and I insist on carrying on with my outspoken style against the wrongdoings. I shall never allow the thugs to cause secession of Hong Kong from China. Those were the days when many Hong Kong people felt aggrieved, and the anger against the opposition camp did culminate. Pausing here, if any of you here find the above chaos ridiculous and unbelievable, here is something more absurd. Some foreign politicians called all the above riots, chaos, and physical violence peaceful protests. Clearly, they stand with the rioters for the purpose of suppressing China. Whenever there was proper law enforcement and arrest of thugs, they would smear it as political prosecution. But interesting enough, when there were riots in the Capitol Hill in 2021, these politicians called for law enforcement and immediate arrest. This is double standards. Like many other comrades in my party, I lost in 2019 District Council election. The opposition camp, formed by mostly thugs, had their victory in 2019, but it turned out to be a nightmare for local people. They ended up wasting all government resources in blowing up conflicts between Hong Kong and the mainland, and they never bothered with any pressing livelihood issues. All they cared was how they would be able to ultimately cause Hong Kong's secession from China. Eventually, local residents suffered. Many Hong Kong people appreciated the effort and help given by the central government at critical times. The enactment of national security law by the National People's Congress Standing Committee in 2020 immediately restored stability for the city. People from all walks of life no longer fear to go out alone due to the threats posed by the rioters. Business community no longer have concerns over their safety in the city. Another important subsequent move made by the central government was improving our electoral system. I must confess that over the years, there have been loopholes in our electoral system. Opposition camp against China could exploit their position as lawmakers to collude with foreign governments and politicians. In 2019, all the way up to 2020, the opposition leaders and lawmakers blatantly and openly urged the United States, United Kingdom, and other foreign countries to sanction against Hong Kong SAR and China. In their election campaign, opposition camp even pledged to paralyze government's function in order to threaten the central government to compromise its sovereignty over Hong Kong SAR. So enough is enough. Fortunately, we have the National Security Law. And apart from that, the National People's Congress passed the resolution to improve our electoral system. In a nutshell, here are the key takeaways of this electoral reform. The election committee was enlarged from 1,200 members to currently 1,500 members. It is comprised of members with wide range of background, from grassroots to professional leaders and business community, so that there will be more balanced participation across different sectors. Likewise, there was a change in the composition of our electoral. There are 3 sectors forming our electoral: election committee constituency, functional constituencies, and geographical constituencies. The new system further heralds the feature of broad representation and balanced participation, which is emphasized in our basic law. Members from different backgrounds certainly don't see eye to eye with each other on various livelihood issues. For instance, the perspective from frontline labor would be vastly different from business community. But Hong Kong has always been a city with diverse views. Such culture runs deep, and we very much cherish. Our new electoral system would enable us to resolve conflicts via dialogue, reaching consensus. Should there be any conflict between sectoral interests and overall interests of the city, the latter will prevail so that Hong Kong can move forward. More important, under our new electoral system, patriots administering Hong Kong is fully implemented. We no longer fear that lawmakers could exploit their positions again to collude with foreign governments. As such, our national security and stability is further safeguarded. In the legislative election held on the 19th of December 2021, I won the election with over 93,000 votes, representing people living in the northwest part of the New Territories in Hong Kong. Not long after the election, there was the outbreak of 5th wave of Omicron pandemic. As a lawmaker from the geographical constituency, I and my colleagues have been relentlessly offering direct help to local residents. I myself have launched a hotline serving infected people, including answering inquiries, delivering Chinese medicine, and rapid antigen tests, the RAT kits, to people in need. Lately, I have been working round the clock to serve our constituents, handling thousands of cases. There are always joint effort and partnership with my colleagues from the election committee and functional constituencies in the course of fighting the pandemic. The good thing is we have members from election committee who are doctors and medical professionals. We also have members representing grassroots who know the difficulties faced by vulnerable frontline cleaners. So we join hands to effectively reflect our constructive opinion to the government in the course of fighting the pandemic. In short, I trust our new electoral system works well. Take the latest pandemic as an example. Due to the outbreak of the 5th wave, the central government has pledged to offer support to Hong Kong on all fronts, from building quarantine camps, offering Chinese medicine, providing face shield, testing facilities, expertise, plus manpower. These have been delivered to Hong Kong swiftly. Imagine if lawmakers against China had occupied seats in the chamber, all support from the mainland would have been blocked. Worse still, that could cause our pandemic situation to deteriorate. Only because of our new electoral system being in place, we are now able to avoid the aforesaid malicious acts. Hong Kong people do understand that some foreign forces have never given up their effort to suppress China by interfering with our domestic affairs. The absurd BNO scheme is a leading example of such. by blatantly further extending the scheme to people who were born after 1997, the British government further trampled international laws and are in breach of the Sino-British Joint Declaration. I am of the view that the entire BNO scheme is mercenary, it's a scam, drawing Hong Kong people's capital to save Britain from economic downturn. I would urge the British government to stop the notorious scheme forthwith. Besides, let me set the record straight. Some foreign governments and politicians have been smearing our national security law and our new electoral system to discredit Hong Kong SAR and China. Meddling with Hong Kong affairs and all falsehood to discredit China are unscrupulous moves to advance their own political interests at the expense of ours. Finally, there are a lot of truth about Hong Kong which are never shown on international media outlets. I would give my heartfelt thanks to the PRC mission in Geneva for offering me a chance here to show you the truth about Hong Kong and Hong Kong people's great confidence on our city's future, backed by mainland China. With the full support from the central government, we trust that Hong Kong SAR will continue to thrive under one country, two systems.